Hi, welcome back to our channel, Resourceful Living Homestead. I am Kathy.
I'm Brian.
And we are doing a collaboration with Natasha at the Budget Preppers called Emarchency. And what this is all about is being prepped, being prepared, and prepping and surviving that you have. So that way we can share some of the things that we do for prepping in case of an event of losing power or a tornado or whatever the case may be. You want to be prepared. So we're going to talk about ways that we prepare. So first is food. We are preppers. We like to buy in bulk and break it down to more of pantry-sized portions or a meal-sized portion, and that's what we do. So we buy in bulk masa, and then we vacuum seal it in 8 cups in Mylar bags. So we keep a lot of Mylar bags, we keep a lot of vacuum seal bags for breaking down large quantities of food into smaller portions. We like to go to Sam's Club and buy in bulk there and then break it down because it's the least expensive way of doing it. Again, we've got baking soda that we've bought in bulk. We've got it broken down into smaller portions, and this is just a simple way of prepping for long term. Less trips to the grocery store, and in the Mylar bags, it will stay fresh. Here we have vacuum sealed some homemade cream of chicken soup. We have canned a lot of chicken broth here lately. So what we do is we'll cook down the chicken, we'll save the broth, make that into chicken broth. Then we'll take the chicken and make a cream of chicken soup out of it. And it being that you can make it in bulk, and really the only thing that was wasted from the chicken was the chicken bone. So we utilized everything. So vacuum sealing in larger portions. Again, here's pecans that we have broken down a large bag into smaller. This here is frozen. It is some turkey dumplings that we had left over from another meal. So saving your leftovers, vacuum sealing them for a later meal. This is going to be another meal for us. And this is so we're not wasting, and we've got a ready meal, completely ready. So prepping with things like this will not only save you money, because you're not wasting the food, you're going to eat it at a later time, but it also allows you to buy in bulk and save like this. And you're out all day long, you're working on the homestead, you really don't feel like making dinner, pop this out of the freezer, put it in a pot or in the microwave, and dinner's already ready for you. Another way we like to prep and be prepared is keeping drinking water on hand. So when I empty out a milk jug, whether it's a gallon jug or it's a half-gallon jug, we always fill it up with water for later on, for drinking. Like when we go to our Oklahoma property, we'll take these jugs of water with us because we don't drink the water there. We are on a well system here with a purifying system because our water is sulfur. So we like to keep the drinking water for the Oklahoma property. And we also just, in the event your water freezes, because on a well, you lose electricity, you lose your well too. So because of it being powered by the electricity. So we've got drinking water on hand. I probably got about 10 gallons of water on hand for drinking. Brian is going to discuss some of the other ways that we prep and we get prepared for.
Just touch base again back on the Mylar. Anytime that you use a breaded product, flour, stuff like that, which kind of proved the point because Kathy had vacuum sealed a bread and it's still molded. The reason why, when you vacuum seal or even loosely put them in Mylar or a vacuum sealed bag, it has to have a desiccant with it. You gotta have a desiccant pouch to keep the moisture away from your products. So
these are not vacuum sealed. I did not vacuum seal the baking soda, but it's got a moisture packet inside of it. And these will go straight into our root cellar.
And number one, have a storm radio. Have one that plugs in the wall and also has battery backup. That way you can grab it if you have a storm shelter, and you can go to the storm shelter and still have contact.
And if you were to lose power, of course it might not work with just having it plugged in, but you've got the batteries as a backup.
The battery backup. Also, walkie-talkies. Always have a hand on walkie-talkies. When power's down, cell phone towers are down, and there's no communication, this is going to be it. These are some high-power two-way walkie-talkie. This is a GSMR. This is a really handy walkie-talkie to have because it's got FM and a weather station in your hand with this walkie-talkie. Have plenty of batteries on hand. Have batteries that have shelf life. These are 12-year battery shelf life.
And these are just a Sam's Club brand. We have found that we like these better than even a Duracell. So we buy them in bulk. We use a lot of batteries here because we're deer hunters and we have game cameras up, so we change batteries out a lot. But always have backup batteries in your survival kit.
Lighting during dark conditions. This is not a Harbor Freight lantern. Harbor Freight made theirs after this one. It is a really nice lantern to have. The Harbor Freight works just as good. Not saying don't buy those, but this is a Medco. It is a very, very good lantern. Plus, it's a flashlight. Harbor Freight doesn't do that.
So keep a couple flashlights on hand. If it requires a battery, you want to make sure that you have plenty of batteries again for flashlight.
Cheap. You can call it a piece of crap, but I can guarantee you when a tornado takes out everything around you and you don't have power, it's a solar powered flashlight, has yellow on one end, white on the other, but it also has a power station that you can hook up and charge your phone. Probably wouldn't do a full charge because it is cheap, but it is solar, so you can leave it out. Always have plenty of light. Be ready. Extension cords. We found out when we had our tornado last Memorial last year that I'm an extension cord nut. So we were ready. We had one generator that we had parked outside the shop, and we ran this whole house with extension cords all the way out to the freezer in our garage.
We ran all the freezers and refrigerators off the generator.
Yes.
So have plenty of extension cords on hand.
If you're running that type of generator. We now have bought a Generac that will power everything if we still have a house standing. But if you have to use just a generator, have plenty to reach everything that you need to save.
Then we're going to walk outside and we're going to show you a few other things that we do for prepping.
And another prepping is I always keep these full. Once I top off the four-wheeler lawnmower, the side-by-side, the tractor, when these go empty, I will run immediately and keep them full. It's easier to keep them full than to be empty. So keep your gas cans full and put treatment in them. So our water tank, when we knew we were moving out in the country, told Kathy that we need a trailer to haul it on because I didn't want to keep the thing in the back of the truck. So she found somebody to build the perfect trailer for this water tank. We keep it full as you're going to get it on this trailer. Probably about 150 gallons. It's a 250 capacity.
IBC tote water container, and it's got a pump on it.
We've actually, when we had the tornado last year, we had a neighbor down the road that had to borrow this water, and it's able to move. He had to put out fires, and so keeping it mobile has helped us out a lot.
So having this reservoir of water on hand, we were able to flush toilets, we were able to wash dishes and stuff like that, while we were without power for 8 days. So this was very handy at that time. So keep a reservoir of water handy, along with regular straight drinking water.
Yes.
Whether it's flats of water, you recycle your milk jugs and fill them up. Okay, we are out here at our well shed. We've got it insulated with just some scrap insulation that we had from our build. We've got like, what, 3 kinds of insulation out there? But you know what? It doesn't matter as long as it's insulated some.
We insulated the walls and blocked off all the airflow that could get into it. I do need to insulate the roof, but let me tell you, we've been below zero 3 different times with this well shed, and it has performed great.
We do have a backup barn heater in here that we can use if we need to keep it the right temperature in the well shed to keep our well equipment from freezing up.
Yeah, it's set on a thermostat right now, and it's 50 degrees in here, and I think we're at like 40. So it's keeping about 10-degree difference right now.
Okay, so this is a 20-foot steel container, a Connex, that we have partially buried under the ground, that is half storm shelter, half root cellar. So we're going to take you along and show you what all we have in the storm shelter. So we've got lights out here that Brian put in, and he will talk about the backup system solar that we have for that. So welcome to our root cellar. It is still growing. At this point, we still have some sorting and canning stuff that we need to get done, but we have a supply of bottled water. And over here, you'll see some things that we have in our root cellar for stock. We, like I said, we buy in bulk at Sam's. We'll break it down. If we find a good deal on bulk things at some other stores, we will buy that and break it down to smaller portions. Here is our masa. Showed that to you earlier inside. Right here is the future home of flour. I have 50 pounds of flour that I need to vacuum seal into Mylar bags. I have run out of time before this video, so I have not gotten that done, but got some Capri Suns for the kiddos, some mayos and different baking stuff up there. Down here we have canned goods and canning broths down there. We've got turkey broth, chicken broth, bone broth, and veggie broth that we have been working on. On this side, we have about 70 pounds of sugar that we have broke down into the Mylar bags. We have cornmeal, two things of cornmeal, and more canned goods. We eventually want to get away from buying canned foods at the grocery store, but when we find a good deal, we will stock up with a case at a time. Down here, we've got more canning. I want to talk a little bit about this goat meat. We were given a goat and slaughtered it, cleaned it up, vacuum sealed it. We did everything ourselves. These are pressure canned goat meat that is ready to eat. It is a complete pantry ready meal. All you have to do is heat that up, or you can just eat it straight out of the jar. It's important to have foods that are ready to go. You never know what kind of emergency you might be in. Am I going to have electricity to heat something? Am I going to have utilities, anything, lights to be able to cook? Whatever the case may be. Here we've got pressure canned cabbage, ready to go meal. It's ready to go. Back here we've got more canned goods that we have stocked in here. We've got some pressure canned potatoes, pressure canned veggie soup, and tomatoes that are ready to go. You can eat them straight out of the jar. Back here on the right, we have dehydrated eggs. When we get eggs, if we can't eat them fast enough, we dehydrate them, turn them into a powder, and put them out here in the root cellar. And then we've just got some other canned goods. This is fresh ground red pepper. We ground that up, dried red peppers, and we've got that. We've got some pickles. We've got
shelf life on them.
cowboy candy that we've made. This is just candied jalapenos. We've got spaghetti sauce and salsa and apple pie filling. We've got walnuts. We've got beef tallow that we rendered. So we purchased 35 pounds of beef fat. We rendered that down to beef tallow. We've got some veggie soup. Got some different canned goods up here. Pretty much things that we use all the time. Up here, we've got extra toilet paper and paper towels. I will mention, see over here, more nuts that we've got vacuum sealed. Rice and pastas and beans on that side. I will mention that the evaporated or dehydrated eggs have a shelf life of 25 years. Now, you won't get your fried eggs in the mornings, but you'll definitely have some scrambled eggs. And I didn't mention up here, I've got pinto beans, navy beans, black beans, and great northern beans that I've pressure canned. These are ready to eat. So it's always important to have ready to eat meals in your pantry. Another thing, I was showing you the paper towels and toilet paper. It's kind of, there's not a whole lot of getting away from. You can get away from paper towels, but you really can't get away from toilet paper. But what we have stopped buying is paper plates. We will just wash up our plates in the dishwasher or by hand versus buying paper plates because they've just gotten to be so expensive. So my tip for you, something you could take away from what I have here in our root cellar is, if you find a good deal on something, you may not need it right then, but you may need it later. So buy in bulk, put it into vacuum seal bags or Mylar bags into smaller portions and stock them away if you have the space. Now I still got some empty space here, so I still got some things I need to fill the shelves with. So, and it will come because gardening season is upon us and we'll be canning. Now, Brian's going to talk about some of the other things out here, because what this Connex doubles as a root cellar and a storm shelter. So on this end where Brian is standing is the storm shelter. So the water basically is the dividing line here. So this is storm shelter down here. And Brian's going to talk about how this works out for us.
We wanted a 12-volt system because if power's gone, of course, you're not going to have lighting or anything. So I made it to where it's all on battery, 12-volt system. We have the capability of charging these deep cell batteries with a solar panel. I have the box that I built. That's another video, by the way, to hook up to the solar panel and charge the battery that's in here. And we won a battery from a YouTuber.
So if you want any more information about how to build this little backup solar power system, we have a video out there that is how to build this thing. So go watch that video if you're interested in building one yourself.
There's Kathy laying in the cot, hooked up to it with her phone. And so we're stationed with the walkie-talkies that you've seen, the lantern. I always have a weather radio. This is a project. I have installed many of these heaters and heavy equipment for Pam Transport and JB Hunt. Doors moving. It's the same system that we put in the bunks for the truck drivers. It just sips fuel. A fuel tank on this is like 1 gallon and it will run like 20 hours. It's unbelievable. I just got to get this thing plumbed in and hooked up. And
so this is for heat, right?
This is for heat.
So we've got this unit down here that is for heat. It's not quite ready yet, but we're moving into spring and summer, so it'll be fine. We've got some time to work on that. Yep. But the solar system powers the lights. It'll power charging our phones or whatever off of these batteries down here. And of course, he mentioned we've got flashlight, walkie-talkies, and a weather radio in our storm shelter.
We've got our lanterns.
We've got lanterns and extra propane. And I guess it's always handy to have
a gun.
Pistola. Another good preparedness that you want to make sure you have. If you have a wood-burning stove, you want to make sure you have plenty of firewood. We have this firewood here inside, and we have other firewood that's outside the door. We can just keep this one loaded up, but we cut firewood all summer long, so we have firewood ready for the winter time. Also, when you're using your wood burning stove, this is here in our shop, so we can keep the shop under a certain temperature if we were working in here or something, but we can also use the wood burning stove and cook on the top of it. So you can anything that you may be cooking in a skillet or a pot, you can cook it on here. Utilize this heat that you're already using with your wood burning your wood to heat the shop. We can cook on it as well. So important to always keep a good supply of firewood on hand. Now, I might also add that we have a propane stove. So we're still able to cook on our propane stove, and we have a propane wall heater in our house as a backup. So if you lose power, so when we had the tornado in May of last year, we were without power for 8 days. We used our fuel that we had a stockpile of to run our generator with our extension cords running to just keep our freezers and refrigerators going, so we didn't lose any of our meat and food and stuff. But for heat, we had the propane heater because we have mini splits here in our shop house, our barnuminium. So we couldn't run that. So we had our backup heaters. We also have some kerosene heaters. We keep a supply of kerosene on hand. And of course, fuel for we have a heater that runs off of fuel also as a backup. So backup heaters or some kind of heat source is great for the winter time. That's gonna wrap up our video. Again, I wanna thank Natasha with the Budget Preppers for putting on this Emarchency collaboration. We're looking forward to posting more videos and looking forward to watching everybody's emergency preparedness prepping videos. That's going to finalize our video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.